The Dauntless appeared from nowhere in Vorn's space with a flash of blue light. The ship turned dark right away, as Captain Sun Kim ordered all systems to use low power. They needed to stay hidden in the enemy territory. "Scan complete," said Min, the science officer, looking at his screen. "There are 17 patrol ships near us, but none have seen us yet." Sun looked at the big screen showing the Vorn home planet. It was huge with rings around it. Like Saturn, many space stations and defense platforms floated. Around it, their spy information had been correct. This was definitely the center of the Vorn Empire. "I have caught their messages," said Hana, the language expert. She had been studying Vorn talk since they first met the aliens. "There is a lot of talk. About Earth they are." She paused. "They are celebrating." Sun's face got hard. "Have they attacked Earth?" Hana's face went pale as she listened to her earpiece. "They are saying Earth's defenses have fallen. Major cities have been destroyed. No one on the bridge spoke for a moment. The news was too heavy. Jay was first to break the silence, her voice steady even though her eyes showed sadness. "Then we have nothing to lose, and everything to make them pay for," added Min, his hand tight on his desk. Sun took a deep breath. "How is the adaptive defense system working?" from the engine room. Dow's voice came through. "It is on, but we have not tested it in real battle. The system will study enemy weapons and change our shields to match, but it needs information. We will need to survive the first few hits. That will not be a problem," said Min with determination. "Because I have found something interesting." He pointed to a part of the screen. "This looks like a main communication center. If we destroy it, we could mess up their entire command system." Sun thought about their choices. A direct attack on the Vorn planet would be suicide, but a quick hit on their communications followed by a fast escape that might work. Jay, plot a course that will keep us hidden behind their moon until the last moment. Min, prepare all weapons. Hana, keep listening to their messages for patrol patterns. As the Dauntless moved quietly through space, Sun went to his room. On his desk was a small picture of his family back on Earth. He touched it gently, wondering if they were still alive. Someone knocked on his door. It was Du. "Yun, I have been thinking," Du said, coming into the room. "The quantum displacement drive has another possible use. The energy it makes is like what we saw from Vorn weapons, but much more powerful." Sun raised an eyebrow. "What are you suggesting?" "I am suggesting we turn our escape plan into a weapon." Du said, his eyes bright with the idea. "If we can change the drive to make a controlled quantum displacement field and set it off near their communication center, the explosion would cause a failure through their entire network." Sun finished the thought, seeing what could happen. "Can you make it work?" Du nodded. "I will need time." "You have 12 hours, Sun said, standing up with new purpose, "because that is when we attack." As Du left to start the changes, Sun looked once more at the picture of his family. "This is for you," he whispered, "for all of us." The next 12 hours on the Dauntless were busy. Everyone had a job to do. Min kept watching the Vorn ships, looking for patterns in their movements. Hana listened to all Vorn messages, learning more about their plans. Jay worked on the attack path, making sure they would stay hidden until the last moment. In the engine room, Du and his team worked on the quantum drive, taking it apart and rebuilding it to work as a weapon. Sun moved around the ship, checking on everyone, giving support. Where needed. 6 hours before the attack, Sun called a meeting with his top officers. "The plan is simple," he explained. "Looking at the map of Vorn space, we will stay hidden behind their moon, then move quickly to the communications center, drop the modified quantum device, and escape back to Earth." "What if they catch us before we drop the device?" asked Jay, always thinking of all possibilities. "Then we fight," said Sun. "We may be one ship, but the Dauntless has weapons they have never seen before." "What about the human prisoners the Admiral mentioned?" asked Hana. "We have picked up messages about test subjects in a building near the communications center." Sun nodded. "That is our second goal. If we can, we will find and free the prisoners. But the main goal is to hit their command structure. If we succeed, it might force them to pull ships back from Earth." As the meeting ended, Du pulled Sun aside. "I have made progress with the quantum device," he said. "But there is a problem." "What kind of problem?" asked Sun. "The device will work," Du explained, "but it needs to be placed directly inside the communications center. We can't just fire it from the ship. It needs to be delivered." Sun thought for a moment. "Then we will use the small shuttle we have." It has stealth technology too. Who will fly the shuttle into the most dangerous place? In Space asked. Do I will, said Sun. This is my mission. I will take a small team with me. The hours passed quickly. As final preparations were made, the shuttle was checked and rechecked. Weapons were loaded. The modified quantum device was carefully placed on board 1 hour before the attack. Sun stood on the bridge of the Dauntless looking at his crew. They were the best Earth had to offer, and they were ready. I need 2 volunteers to come with me on the shuttle. Sun announced, I will go. Said Min. Right away I know the Vorn technology better than anyone. And I will go, said Hana. I can understand their language. If we meet any Vorn. Sun nodded. Thank you both. Jay, you will command the Dauntless while we are gone. Keep the ship safe and be ready to pick us up or escape if we fail. Sun, Min, and Hana put on their spacesuits and went to the shuttle. It was small but fast with its own stealth system that would hide them from Vorn sensors. As they prepared to leave the Dauntless, Jay came to say, Goodbye, be careful, she said to Sun. We need you to come back, we will. Sun promised then to everyone listening. Remember, one ship can change everything. The shuttle left the Dauntless silently and headed toward the Vorn planet, using the moon as cover. They moved through space, avoiding the patrol ships as they got closer. Hana listened to the Vorn messages. They are still celebrating their victory over Earth, she said with anger. How Earth was too weak to be a real threat. They will learn different, soon said Min, checking his weapons. The shuttle passed the outer defenses using a gap in the patrol pattern that Hana had found from listening to their messages. Soon they were near the massive communication structure where the victory celebration was happening. Min looked at his scanner. There is the research building where they might keep human prisoners. It is connected to the communications center by a tunnel. That gives me an idea. Said Sun. Let us place the device, then check for prisoners. We might have time for both as they prepared to dock with the communications center hidden from Vorn eyes. Sun thought about Earth, about all the people counting on this mission. One ship against an empire seemed impossible. But they had come this far. No one had ever attacked the Vorn home planet before. No one had ever challenged them directly. The Vorn thought humans were weak, but Sun and his crew were about to prove them wrong. Deep in enemy territory, one Earth ship prepared to change the course of the war. The final hours before Aegis started changed the Sol system into a center of busy activity. Ships from every major species had arrived, not to threaten Earth, but to help and watch. A temporary command center had been set up on Mars colony far enough from the Aegis ring to be safe from any immediate energy problems, yet close enough to watch the operation. Tay stood beside Director Seo at the main console watching. As final calculations were processed, the room was filled with the galaxy's greatest scientific minds working with human engineers in a teamwork never seen before in Council history. The void has speeded up again, reported Jun, who had been chosen as the link between Council scientists and the human team. New prediction puts it at the edge of the Zendi system in 29 hours. Not the 6 months we first calculated. Director Seo's face stayed calm, but Tay could see the tension in her shoulders. It's responding to the increased communications in this area, despite our care. The emergency council meetings and fleet movements have created quantum noise, so it knows we are aware of it. Tai concluded grimly. Possibly, or it's simply drawn to the concentration of technology activity. Either way, we've run out of time for improvements. She turned to speak to the assembled team. Aegis will start in 30 minutes. All non-essential personnel should board their transports now. As the room began to clear, leaving only the core technical team, Sang approached Tay with a small device, a personal shield generator modified to the same frequency as Aegis just in case. Tay accepted it with thanks. What are our real chances? Old friend, not the official numbers, but your honest view. Sang's eyes crinkled with a tired smile. Honestly, it's the most beautiful theory I've ever seen, built in the most rushed and desperate way imaginable. It might work perfectly. It might tear a hole in space-time, most likely something in between. A communication officer called out incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. The main screen activated to show High Counselor June speaking from the safety of the Council. Homeworld Director CO. The Council has unanimously voted to extend an honor rarely given, regardless of the outcome today. Humanity, is formally recognized as a guardian species of the Galactic Accord, with all rights and responsibilities of that position. Guardian species, it was the highest rank in council hierarchy previously held by only the 5 founding races it acknowledged. Humanity's willingness to risk everything to protect everyone. Director Seo bowed slightly. We accept this honor, High Counselor, and hope to live long enough to use those responsibilities. As the transmission ended, she turned back to her team. Final checks on the Jupiter array. The massive energy collection systems orbiting Jupiter had been gathering power for weeks, storing it in quantum batteries that broke normal physical limitations. A human innovation they had kept secret until now. Arrays at full capacity confirmed. G from his station field generators aligned and synchronized. Director Seo moved to the activation console, her hands hovering over the biological controls. This is Director Yoon, starting Aegis Protocol Authentication Code, Gamma 7 Echo 9 Delta. The computer processed her authorization identity confirmed, waiting for secondary authentication, to everyone's surprise. Director Seo looked directly at Tae as representative of the Galactic Council and the species we aim to protect. The honor of secondary authentication belongs to you. Tae stepped forward, understanding the deep meaning of the gesture. This wasn't just a human project anymore. It was a stand for all living things. This is Envoy Tae of the Galactic Council confirming authorization for Aegis Protocol activation, authentication code to follow. He placed his hand on the scanner. Alpha 1 Omega 3. Zeta secondary authentication confirmed. The system announced Aegis Protocol starting in 10 minutes. All personnel secure for gravity changes. As the countdown continued, the various monitors showed the void's approach. It had already eaten the outermost planets of the Zendi system, leaving nothing but empty space where they had been. It's bigger than our models predicted, G observed quietly, and moving with purpose now, almost as if it knows we're trying to stop it. Hyun finished. Director Seo's voice remained steady as she guided her team through final adjustments, compensating for increased mass, recalibrating field projection angles. Keep the focus tight. We need maximum effect at first contact. The minutes ticked down with painful slowness throughout the Sol system. Ships had positioned themselves in the safety zone behind Earth's solar plane as far from the projected Aegis field as possible. While still being able to observe 60 seconds, the system announced. Director SEO opened a system-wide channel. This is Director SEO to all personnel and allied vessels secure for possible space-time distortion. If Aegis fails, proceed immediately to emergency jump points. There will be no second attempt. He found himself holding his breath as the final countdown began. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10. At 0, the massive energy stored in the Jupiter arrays surged through the Aegis ring. A wave of brilliant blue light exploded outward, expanding at impossible speed. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. The command center shook violently as reality itself seemed to bend around. Them status, Tae shouted above the roar of straining equipment. Field expansion nominal. Director Seo called back, her eyes fixed on the readings. First phase complete. Energy shell integrity at 94%. On the main screen, they could see the Aegis field, expanding, a shimmering barrier of blue-white energy stretching outward from Sol system toward the approaching void contact in 5 minutes. G reported, his voice tight with tension. The minutes stretched like hours as they waited. Then suddenly the monitors flashed red warnings. Contact made. Director Seo announced field integrity, dropping 85%, 70% compensating. The field was visibly struggling where it met the void, the beautiful blue light being consumed by the absolute darkness. Not working, called out one of the human scientists. Field collapse imminent. Then Director Seo made a decision that would change the course of history. Amplify the harmonic frequency, she ordered. Activate secondary resonators. But that wasn't in the plans, called Jun, looking confused. The simulations showed. No time for simulations, snapped Director Seo. Humanity has spent centuries studying the quantum nature of light and darkness. We've prepared contingencies. Do it now. Tae saw a determined look pass between the human scientists as commands were entered. New systems came online, drawing even more power from the Jupiter arrays. The nature of the field changed before their eyes. The blue-white energy darkening to deep violet, then shifting through colors Tae had no names for. The void is slowing, reported G, disbelief in his voice field. Integrity stabilizing at 42%. More powerful readings came from the monitoring stations as the changed Aegis field met the void instead of being consumed. The field now seemed to be pushing back, creating a boundary between existence and nothingness. Then something impossible happened. The void began to retreat. "It's working," gasped Jun, staring at the readings. "But not according to any model we calculated. That's because," Director Seo said, her voice tight with concentration, "we've stopped trying to hide from it and started pushing back light against darkness, existence against nothingness." For 15 tense minutes, the struggle continued. Monitoring stations across the galaxy reported the void's retreat, accelerating away from the Sol system, moving back toward the galactic core. Then suddenly, field connection lost. Void signature no longer detected. G reported, his voice shaking with emotion. "Did we destroy it?" Hyun asked. No, Director Seo shook her head. "We pushed it back, showed it that this sector of space would fight back in ways it didn't expect." On screen after screen, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The void had disappeared, retreating to whatever dark space existed beyond normal reality. That's when Tae understood the true brilliance of humanity's plan. They hadn't just built a shield. They had created a weapon that used the void's own nature against it. "You never planned to just hide, did you?" Tae asked Director Seo. "You were testing its response, learning its weaknesses all along." Director Seo gave a tired smile. "Humans don't hide for long. Tae, we observe, we learn, we adapt, and then we fight back." We went silent, not from fear, but for focus. Communications are coming back online from across the Sol system, announced Day as if a switch had been flipped. All the human colonies were sending messages again, space traffic resuming normal patterns. Tae saw it now. The silence hadn't been from terror, it had been strategic. Humanity had gone quiet to work without distraction to save themselves and the galaxy. "How long will this protection last?" asked Hyun, eyeing the readouts. "We don't know," honestly replied Director Seo, "but we've learned so much we can build better versions of Aegis throughout the galaxy. Create a network of protection and warning systems. The void may return, but next time, well, be ready." The exhausted teams began to celebrate as the news spread throughout the system. Ships from 100 worlds sending congratulations and relief. Earth had saved them all as Tae watched humans embracing each other and their alien allies. He thought about the fear that had gripped the Council when humanity went silent. How they had assumed the worst about the strange young species. Now he understood a deeper truth about humans. They could be loud and chaotic and unpredictable. But when true darkness threatened, they stood firm. They fought not just for themselves but for all life. Perhaps the Council had been right to tremble when humanity went silent, but not from fear of humans themselves, rather from the terrible threat that human. The big alien ships filled the sky above Earth. They looked dark and scary against the blue planet. Captain Sun Kim stood watching from the window of the space station. He could see the strange ships with their sharp edges moving into attack position. These aliens had come without warning 2 months ago. They attacked Mars first, then the Moon, and now they were ready to attack. Earth humans had tried to fight back. All the spaceships from every country joined together, but they were no match for the aliens who called themselves the Vorn Empire. The human ships were destroyed one by one now. Only one ship remained. It was called the ESS Dauntless. It was the newest and most advanced ship humans had ever built. Sun had been chosen to be the captain of this last ship. He felt the heavy weight of this job on his shoulders. First Officer J. Park walked up to Sun. Her face was serious. "Captain, the Council is waiting for you," she said. Sun nodded and followed her to the command room. In the big command center, the leaders from Earth governments were all there as moving pictures called holograms. Sun stood tall as he faced them. "Captain Kim." "Our situation is very bad," said President Lee, who spoke first. "Our defenses on the ground cannot hold much longer. Our spies tell us the Vorn are getting ready for one final attack that will destroy what is left of humanity." An older woman with gray hair stepped forward. This was Admiral Han. She had designed the Dauntless Captain. "The Dauntless has new technology that we have never tested in real battle," she said. "The quantum displacement drive and the adaptive defense system are only theories, really, but they are all we have left President Lee continued. We are sending you on a mission. Straight to the heart of Vorn territory, our spies have found their home planet. If we can attack their leaders, we might force them to retreat. Sun looked around the room. He understood how serious this was. One ship against an empire, he asked. Admiral. Han nodded her head. Sometimes, Captain, that's all it takes. As Sun got ready to board the Dauntless, he found his childhood friend and chief engineer, Du Yun, waiting for him by the door. They are sending us on a suicide mission. Du said right away. Maybe. Sun answered, but it's better than staying here and waiting to die. Together they walked onto the bridge of humanity's last warship. The crew was small, just 50 of Earth's best people. Jay stood straight as Sun sat in the captain chair for the first time. Set course for the Vorn homeworld, he ordered. Let's show them what one Earth ship can do. As the Dauntless moved away from Earth, the Vorn fleet began their final attack on the planet below. Sun watched his home get smaller on the screen. He wondered if there would be anything left to come back to. The ship hummed with energy as systems came online. The crew worked at their stations, checking all systems before the big jump. Dr. Min Lee, the ship's science officer, approached Sun with data readings. Captain, these Vorn ships have technology unlike anything we have seen before, he reported. But I have been studying the patterns of their attacks. There may be a weakness in their defense systems. Tell me more. Sun said, turning his full attention to Minnie. Vorn ships use an energy field that blocks our weapons, Min explained. But the field has to adjust each time we use a different type of attack. If we could change our weapons fast enough, we might break through. That matches what our spies reported. Du called from his engineering station. The adaptive defense system on the Dauntless was built exactly for this kind of situation. It can change our weapons and shields in seconds. Sun nodded. This was the first piece of good news he had heard. The Dauntless may be one ship, but it was built with the best human minds had to offer. Hana Kim, the communication specialist, spoke up from her station. Captain, I have been studying the Vorn language from messages we captured, she said. I think I understand some of their commands. If we get close enough, I might be able to listen to their communications. The plan was coming together in Sun's mind. Each crew member brought something special to this mission. Maybe they had a chance after all. Jay brought up a map of known space on the main screen. Our course to the Vorn homeworld will take us through 3 star systems. She said we will need to use normal engines until we are far enough from Earth. Then we can test the quantum displacement drive. How? Long asked Sun. 7 days at normal speed. Then if the quantum drive works as planned, just 3 hours to reach Vorn space. Jay answered. Sun looked at his crew. Do prepare the engines. Min, continue studying the Vorn defenses. Hana, learn everything you can about their language. Jay, plot our course. We leave in 1 hour. As the crew rushed to their tasks, Sun went to his private room on the ship. Inside was a small box with pictures of his family, his parents and his little sister. He did not know if they were still alive after the attacks on Earth cities. He touched the pictures gently. There was a knock at his door. It was Admiral Han. The Admiral entered the room. Her face looked tired from many days without sleep. Captain Kim, there is something else you should know, she said, something we did not want to say in front of the whole council. What is it? Admiral Sun asked. The Vorn have been taking humans alive? She said, we don't know why, but they seem very interested in us as a species. Some of our scientists think they might be studying us. Sun felt cold at this news, so there might be human prisoners. Yes, the Admiral nodded. And if you succeed in your mission, you might find them and bring them home. That would be a miracle. We need right. Now Sun stood up straighter. I understand, Admiral, we will not fail. As the Admiral left, Sun looked one more time at his family pictures, then put them away. It was time to focus on the mission. 1 hour later, the Dauntless moved away from the space station, all systems working perfectly. The 50 crew members at their stations ready for the most important journey in human history. Quantum displacement drive ready to test, announced. Du from engineering. Sun took a deep breath. Give the order, First Officer, he said to JJ, nodded and spoke clearly to the whole ship. All crew prepare for quantum displacement in 3, 2, 1. There was a flash of blue light around them, and suddenly the stars looked like lines as they moved faster than any human ship had ever gone before. They were on their way to enemy territory, carrying the hopes of an entire planet with them. Little did the Vorn know that this single ship would soon change everything in the galaxy. The humans had one ship left, and they sent it to war. It would turn out that was all it took. The Dauntless stayed hidden in the shadow of the Vorn moon, all systems nearly off to avoid detection on the bridge. Captain Sun. Kim watched the timer count down to their moment of attack. All stations report ready. Captain said, "First Officer J." Parker voice calm despite the worry that everyone felt. Sun nodded. How is the modified quantum displacement device ready for use? Yun replied from engineering. But I should say again, this is completely new if my math is wrong by even a little. Bit noted, Sun said, but right now theory is all we have. Min spoke up quickly. Captain, strange activity near the communications center. Many ships are going to that place. Hana looked up from her station. I am picking up a high-priority message translating. Now her eyes got big. Captain, it is the Vorn Supreme Commander. They are having a victory ceremony for conquering Earth suns. Eyes narrowed as he studied the screen on his desk. So all their leaders will be in one place. This changes things, Jay said. Quietly, we could do more than just stop communications. Sun thought about their choices. The first plan was to hit quickly and escape. But this new information gave them a chance they could not ignore. If we put the quantum displacement device directly in their meeting, what would happen? There was a pause before Du answered, complete molecular breakdown within about 5 kilometers. Nothing would survive. Sun made his decision, change the plan. We are going to deliver this package personally. The next hour was spent in careful preparation. The modified device was loaded onto the stealth shuttle, and Sun selected his team himself. Min for weapons support, and Hana for her knowledge of Vorn language and habits. The shuttle's stealth technology should get you close enough, Jay explained during the final meeting. But you will have only minutes before they detect the energy from the device. That's all we will need, Sun replied. He turned to the rest of the bridge crew. If we are not back in 30 minutes, execute escape plan and return to Earth or what's left of it. Du approached Sun before he got on the shuttle. I have made one final change, he said, giving Sun a small control device. This will let you adjust the power at its lowest setting. It will only destroy the communication center at its highest. He did not need to finish that sentence. Sun took the device. Let's hope we don't need the highest setting. The shuttle silently moved away from the Dauntless and began its approach to the communications center using the Vorn moon as cover. They managed to avoid being seen by the patrol ships as they got closer. Hana translated the ongoing Vorn messages. They are bragging about how humans were too primitive to be any real threat, she said with disgust. Min smiled grimly. They are about to learn differently. The shuttle slipped past the outer defenses using a gap in the patrol pattern that Hana had found from the communications chatter. Soon they were positioned directly beneath the massive communications structure where the victory celebration was taking place. Sun turned on his spacesuit's radio. We are in position, prepare to deploy the device. Just then, Hana gasped. Captain, I am picking up something else in their messages. They are talking about test subjects, human prisoners taken before the final attack. Sun froze. They have survivors from Earth. Yes, Hana confirmed, being held in a research facility next to this structure. The mission had suddenly become more complicated. Destroying the communications center might save future worlds from the Vorn. But what about the human prisoners? Sun made a decision that would change everything. New plan, he announced. We are going to rescue those prisoners and show the Vorn exactly what one Earth ship can do. Min looked at him for a moment, then nodded with determination. How do we get to the research facility? According to these messages, said Hana, studying her small computer. There is a service tunnel connecting the two buildings. The three of them moved their shuttle to a small docking port near the tunnel entrance. Using Hana's translations of Vorn security codes, they managed to get inside without setting off alarms. Once inside, they moved carefully down the dark tunnel, their weapons ready, Sun in the lead. Min watching their backs, Hana in the middle monitoring Vorn communications. The tunnel ended at a locked door. Hana worked quickly typing Vorn symbols on the control panel, while Sun and Min kept watch. Got it, she whispered as the door slid open. They entered the research facility and immediately froze in shock. The room was filled with strange equipment, and in the center were large glass containers. Inside each container was a human floating in clear liquid. "They are alive," said Min, checking a nearby screen vital signs stable, "but they appear to be in some kind of sleep state." "How many?" asked Sun, looking around at the many containers. Hana moved to a main control station and began reading, "Vorn writing 57 humans," she said after a moment, "all taken from Mars and Moon colonies before the Earth attack." "Can we wake them up?" asked. "Sun, not safely," replied Min. "After studying the controls, we would need to understand this technology better first, and we don't have time." Sun thought quickly, then made a decision. "We take the whole facility." "What?" asked Hana, looking surprised. "We can't wake them one by one." Sun explained, "But the quantum device has the power to disrupt Vorn systems, not just destroy things." Du said, "If we adjust it to the lowest setting, we could disable the security systems, then call the Dauntless to pick up the entire research module." Min nodded in understanding. "The research facility appears to be a separate module attached to the main structure. It could theoretically be detached, and with the Dauntless tractor beam we could bring it with us back to Earth," added Hana, getting excited at the idea. Sun smiled. "This is why Earth sent the best. We adapt and overcome." He turned to his small team, "But first, we need to place the quantum device in the communication center to disable the Vorn leadership." The team split up. Min stayed to prepare the research facility for transport, while Sun and Hana continued to the communication center through another tunnel, carrying the quantum device between them. As they got closer, they could hear the sounds of the Vorn celebration. Hana translated some of the speeches. "They are congratulating themselves on wiping out Earth defenses," she whispered, anger in her voice. "They are already planning to colonize our planet. Keep your anger controlled," Sun told her. "We are here to make sure that never happens." They reached an air vent that looked down into the main hall below. Hundreds of Vorn were gathered around a large central table where several Vorn with elaborate armor stood. These had to be the leaders. Their son pointed to a small maintenance panel near the ceiling. "We can place the device there, and it will affect the entire room." Carefully they opened the panel and set the quantum device inside. Hana watched as Sun adjusted the settings to affect only the command center, but not destroy the research facility with the human prisoners. Just as they finished, alarms began to sound throughout the structure. "We've been detected." Sun said, "We need to get back to Min and the prisoners." They ran back through the tunnel, alarms blaring all around them. Vorn security forces would be coming soon. When they reached Min, he was working rapidly at a control panel. "Almost ready," he said. "The module is prepared for detachment, but we need to trigger the quantum device now. They are starting full security." Lockdown. Sun took out the control device, ready to activate it, when suddenly the door burst open and Vorn guards rushed in, their weapons pointed at the humans. Sun, Min, and Hana raised their hands slowly. There were too many guards to fight, but Sun's mind was racing, looking for a way out. The Vorn guards parted, and a taller Vorn stepped forward, wearing the most elaborate armor of all. Speaking in perfect human language, it said, "I am Supreme Commander Ruck, and you are the first humans to ever reach our homeworld." "Impressive but foolish." "How do you speak our language?" asked Hana in surprise. The Supreme Commander made a sound like laughter. "We have been studying your species for some time, which is why we kept specimens alive. You are fascinating, though primitive." While the commander spoke, Sun noticed that his finger was still on the trigger of the quantum device. Hidden in his hand, one press and it would activate. "Your ship is impressive as well," continued the Supreme Commander. "We detected it hiding behind our moon. It will be captured soon and its technology added to ours." Sun looked at Min and Hana and gave a small nod. They understood immediately what he planned to do. "You came all this way for nothing," said the Supreme Commander. "One ship against our empire. What did you hope to accomplish?" Sun looked directly at the Vorn leader and smiled. "Sometimes," he said, "one ship is all it takes." Then he pressed the button. There was a moment of silence, then a low humming sound began to build throughout the facility. The lights flickered, and the Vorn guards looked around in confusion. "What have you done?" demanded the Supreme Commander. "Changed the game," said Sun as the quantum displacement field began to expand. The space around the Vorn homeworld exploded with light as ships fired at each other. The Dauntless used its tractor beam to pull the research module with all the human prisoners inside. The reformist Vorn ships led by Tay formed a protective shield around them while the military Vorn vessels attacked from all sides. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Captain Sun Kim watched the battle unfold around them. Jay Park stood at his side, her face showing both relief at seeing him alive and worry about their situation. Tractor beam, holding steady, reported due from engineering. But it puts a heavy strain on our power systems. We can't use the quantum drive while pulling the module. How long until we reach safe distance from the planet? Asked Sun. At current speed 20 minutes, answered Jay. But enemy ships are moving to block our path. Sun turned to Dr. Jin Song and Tay, who had joined them on the bridge after transferring from the module. Tay, can your ships clear us a path? Tay moved to a communication panel and spoke rapidly in Vorn language. 3 of our largest ships are moving to create an opening, he said after listening to the response. But the Supreme Commander has activated the planetary defense grid. What does that mean? Asked Min, who had taken his position at the tactical station. It means, said Tay, that in approximately 15 minutes, orbital weapons will lock onto all ships in this sector, including the reformist vessels. How many people are in the research module now? Asked Sun 50. 7 humans in stasis pods, replied. Jin plus 23 awake scientists and 15 reformist Vorn, all told 95 people, depending on us to get them out. Sun looked at the tactical display, studying their options. They were outnumbered, but the Dauntless had advantages the Vorn military did not expect. He called to engineering the adaptive defense system. Is it working? Better than expected. Du replied. It has analyzed Vorn weapons and adjusted our shields. We can take hits that would destroy normal ships and our own weapons. Asked Sun, the analysis goes both ways, Du answered. We know exactly where to hit them now to cause maximum damage. Sun made his decision. Jay plot a direct course through the blockade. Aim for the largest enemy ship. But Captain Jay protested that suicide. Sun shook his head. No, it's precisely what they won't expect. Tay, tell your ships to follow close behind us. Men, prepare all weapons, target their engines and weapon systems only. The bridge crew moved quickly, following Sun's orders. Du diverted all available power to engines and weapons. Jay programmed the direct course. Min prepared targeting solutions, while Hana monitored all communications. Reformist ships acknowledged the plan. Tay reported they will follow your lead. The Dauntless engines flared bright as the ship accelerated straight toward the Vorn blockade, dragging the research module behind it. The enemy ships began firing immediately, but the adaptive defense system did its work. Their shields, holding against attacks that would have destroyed them before return fire. Ordered Sun and the Dauntless weapons blazed to life, striking with precise hits against the Vorn military vessels, targeting exactly where they were most vulnerable. The Dauntless smashed through the blockade like a spear. 2 enemy ships spiraling away with critical damage. The reformist vessels followed in their wake, keeping the path clear as they pushed toward open space. Supreme Commander Rak is hailing us, reported Hana. Put him through, said Sun. The angry face of the Vorn leader appeared on the main screen. You cannot escape, he growled. Our ships are moving to cut off all routes from our system. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Sun looked calmly at the Supreme. Commander, I think you'll find that option no longer benefits either of us. The humans' newfound courage is amusing, said Rak. One ship cannot change the outcome of this. Warte stepped forward into view of the screen. It is not just one ship, Supreme. Commander, it is an alliance. Traitor, hissed Rak when he saw Tay. You would side with these primitives against your own kind. They are not primitives, corrected Tay. They are our future, our only hope for survival. The military path leads only to extinction. Rak seemed to lose control at these words, shouting orders to his fleet. Destroy them all, no survivors. The transmission cut off, and immediately more enemy ships appeared, moving to surround them. Captain, planetary defense grid is powering up, warned Minnie. It will fire in 7 minutes, we need more speed. Sun said. Du, can you give us anything more? The engines are at maximum. Du replied, but I might have one more trick. The quantum drive can't take us to light speed while we're towing the module, but we could create a small quantum bubble around just the Dauntless and the module. A short jump of a few thousand kilometers. Will it work? Asked Sun theoretically do answered, but we've never tested it. If it fails, we're no worse off than we are now. Finished Sun do it. The ship shuddered as do redirected power to create the quantum bubble. Min reported enemy ships closing from all sides. The reformist vessels were taking heavy damage, buying time for the Dauntless to escape. Quantum bubble forming. Reported. Do his voice tense with concentration, coordinates locked on that gap between enemy formations. Everyone braced as the familiar blue glow of quantum energy began to form around the ship, and the research module energy readings went wild as systems strained to create the bubble. Now shouted Do as he activated the modified drive. There was a flash of blue light, and suddenly the Dauntless and module were thousands of kilometers away from the battle. The planetary defense grid fired, at empty space where they had been moments before. It worked, gasped Jay in amazement. For a moment there was celebration on the bridge, but it was short-lived, as sensors showed the enemy fleet regrouping and heading toward their new position. We're not. Safiet said, Son, the Vorn military won't give up that easily, Tay. Where's your reformist fleet they can't follow? Explained Tay. They don't have the same technology, but they are keeping the military occupied, buying us time. We need to get completely away. From Vorn space, said Sun. Can we use the regular quantum drive now? The bubble jump drained our reserves. Du replied, we need 10 minutes to recharge enough for a full jump. We might not have 10 minutes, warned Min as enemy ships began to appear. On long-range sensors. Sun looked at Jin and Tay. You said the reformist could take control if given the chance, he said. Is there a way to send a message to all Vorn? Tay nodded. The communication hub that you targeted has a backup system I could access it remotely. But I would need to boost our signal. Hana spoke up. The Dauntless communication array can be modified to reach that frequency. Do it, ordered Sun. If we can't escape, maybe we can change the game completely. While Hana and Tai worked to set up the transmission, the enemy fleet drew closer. The Dauntless shields took hit after hit from long-range weapon shields. At 60%, reported Min returning fire. But there are too many of them. Quantum drive at 70%, added. Do still. Need 5 more minutes. The transmission is ready. Said Tay, standing before a camera. I can broadcast to all Vorn in the system. Make it good, said Sun. This may be our only chance. Tay began speaking in Vorn language, his voice clear and strong as he addressed his people. Jin translated quietly for the humans, people of Vorn. He is saying the military leadership has led us to the brink of extinction. Their war against Earth will not save us. It will destroy us. The humans have technology that can help solve our genetic problems. They are not our enemies, they are our salvation. I have seen their courage, their adaptability, their willingness to find peaceful solutions even after we attacked them. This is the path to our future, not endless war. Enemy ships suddenly stopped firing. Main Vorn communication channels are exploding with messages, reported Hana. The reformists are broadcasting evidence of the military's failures. Quantum drive ready, announced. Do coordinates set for Earthweight. Ordered Sun, watching as the enemy fleet seemed to be in disarray, some ships turning against others. Vorn fighting Vorn. We did it, Jin whispered. The reformists are taking control, after several tense minutes. Hana reported Supreme Commander Rack's flagship has been destroyed. By his own fleet, the military command is falling. When the fighting finally stopped, a single Vorn ship approached the Dauntless. Its weapons powered down. Incoming transmission said. Hana on the screen appeared an older Vorn wearing simple clothing. Captain Kim, I am Eldersu, leader of the Vorn Council with the military leadership removed. We wish to offer peace and alliance. Sun looked at his crew, at Jin and Tay, at the faces of hope all around him. One ship had come to enemy territory on what seemed like a hopeless mission and had changed everything. Sometimes, said Sun with a smile, one ship is all it takes. 6 months later, the Dauntless returned to Earth, leading a small fleet of Vorn ships not as conquerors, but as allies. Earth cities were being rebuilt with Vorn technology, while human scientists helped the Vorn solve their genetic problems. As Sun stood on the observation deck of the Dauntless, looking down at the blue planet Earth, President Lee contacted him. Captain Kim Shi said the first Vorn-human cooperation treaty is ready for signing. Who would have thought when we sent our last ship on what seemed like a suicide mission that it would return with peace? Sun smiled. Sometimes, Madam President, one ship is all it takes, when that ship carries the best of humanity.